Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back into another edition of Jake's Takes. I am your host, Jake Massucci, and today we got on my guy, Marty Hannon. We are back. We're going to talk about Detroit Tigers baseball, start with Skubal and the arbitration decision, and then we'll go right into Framber Valdez coming to Detroit. So big Tigers news that dropped, and pretty much an emergency podcast we got to do. So without further ado, I'm going to cue the music. All right, welcome back into another edition of Jake's Takes. I am your host, Jake Massucci, and I am super excited to be joined by my guy, Marty Hannon. He is back with us. Marty, how we doing, man?
Good, man. Really, really good. No complaints at all.
Good. Well, let's get right into it. We have some great Tigers news that happened throughout the weekend. Marty texted me and was like, hey, we got to do an emergency pod. We got to, because this Skubal news is huge. And we were saying it when we did the Tigers offseason thing, that we were waiting for this moment. We were waiting for the arbitration case to be over. And Skubal has gotten his $32 million. He's coming back to the Tigers. Tigers proposed $19 million. He was able to get the $32 million. So we're going to discuss what it means, talk about the Framber Valdez decision and all that jazz. So Marty, they proposed $19 million and Skubal gets it done for $32 million. So talk to me about like what went through in the arbitration case, how Skubal was able to get his money when most people don't. That's the research that I was doing, that most people don't get through arbitration. So talk to me a little bit. Take me inside of this arbitration case a little bit.
Yeah. So arbitration is kind of a weird process, and the vast majority of teams that I've seen really try to avoid it, and even we do too. But Scott Harris has a philosophy with it called like file and trial, which basically means that like no matter what, if the two teams don't come to an agreement on by the like arbitration due date, then he'll just take it to a trial, like so that like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So as much of like a big deal a lot of people made, like there is no bad blood between Skubal and the organization. At least from what it seems like. Like definitely nothing new, because that's just how we handle things. We went to a hearing last year too with Casey Mize. I don't know what the players think about this, about how Harris does that overall, but it's it seems that at the end of the day, he's gonna always try to get these guys at the lowest possible value, which is fine. And then basically he's like, if they can prove that that they will like make what they're actually worth, he's seemingly okay with that. So realistically, as long as that's how I see the process, and that's probably like the most optimistic way of looking at it. But I'm cool with that overall. I think school, like I'd pay 32 million for school for sure.
Yeah, especially for 1 year, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
right.
come on, why not?
Yeah,
You know, he's the best pitcher in baseball. But
right.
go ahead, continue.
So yeah, so that's not too much. But as far as the process goes with it, Skubal, so we filed the 19, which was definitely a low ball offer. I think we should have filed somewhere closer to about like 24, 25. And they filed 32, which is record breaking arbitration. Um, and basically there was obviously no agreement. That's a big number. 13 million is a lot to be disagreeing about. So it went to trial, and then the trial process is basically you'll bring like uh Scooby will bring his agent, and then lawyers kind of figure it out. Like both sides present why they think the player is worth this much. And I mean, in this case, it's obvious. Like, kind of a funny thing is, um, School brought his Cy Young awards.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, that alone I think would do it. But it sounds like that they just uh the however the process went, Scubal's side like brought up his stats over the past few couple of years. And the Tigers were more so, I guess, bringing up how arbitration is typically gone.
Hmm.
So this is where this really becomes a big deal is you will see more players be aggressive in their arbitration moving forward. And you will likely
Okay.
also probably see more teams trying to completely avoid the process by signing
Hmm.
their younger players who are likely going to develop into stars early, similar to what the A's have done with Jacob Wilson. He's on like a
Yeah.
7-year, $70 million deal. Basically, he's going to be making 10 million the whole time. They'll like and like that payroll is consistent. So
Yeah. It's really interesting because like everybody talked about how record breaking it is, and you're kind of talking about how it's going to change like how arbitration is done. It makes sense for these teams not to want to go through this, you know? Like what if it's not a guy like Tarik Skubal going into this and he just has a really good lawyer and can win the case, you know?
right,
Like
exactly.
then you're overpaying a guy that you don't want to overpay and you're kind of stuck there, right?
Yeah. I do think if we had won the deal, I think which I think was a far-fetched idea, but I think, like, we've been like, "Oh, hell yeah." Like, I really don't think as much as people wanna make it out, especially, like, national news, like, I don't think this was Harris trying to lowball Skubal. I think he did lowball him, but
Mhm.
I think we are definitely fine paying him that, especially considering we just signed Framber to 38 million a year, so
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I wrote down, and I think they brought this up during the arguments, was most of the top starting pitchers are making more than like 40 million a year. So like the
yeah.
fact that we're lowballing him that much, and Scubal's only asking for 32 million before free agency, right? So I feel like it makes sense in his front, but
Yeah, I think so too. Oh, I was just saying the one last thing, like, there's that thing, like, Josh Donaldson calling us a trash organization, what we completely proved otherwise. Like, we went without even knowing the, result, and even if we did, it doesn't really matter, uh, signed Valdez to a big money, like, the same day. So we're in it to win it, and I'm tired of people basically acting like we're a like national media acting like we're just this small market when if you look 10 years ago when we had a World Series caliber team, we were one of the top spenders. And I'm not saying
100%.
we're gonna be a top spender again with what's going like or be like the Dodgers, Mets, Yankees, but we can very
Mhm.
much so be uh more than just the middle ground and be that tier two, similar to like the Cubs and the even like what Baltimore and stuff has done. So
Yeah, and that's kinda what we're gonna talk about with, Framber Valdez adding on to
yes.
this stacked rotation, you know? But, moving into one more thing on Skubal, we mentioned it in the last podcast, like, the one con with bringing back Skubal is how much money he's gonna want next year,
Yes.
right? He's
Right.
looking for over 400,000,000, a $400,000,000 contract, and that's just going to make it really rough for us in spending and figuring out exactly like how much we can afford all these people. So talk to me about Scooble getting this arbitration deal. He got the 32 million. Does this change anything for you? Like, do you want to still pay him that money, or where is your opinion on re-signing him or letting him go next year line?
I still want to resign him. What
Mhm.
I've heard is that the Tigers are fine with, um, the, annual value of Skubal. Even if you look when there's again, all these national clickbait reports, uh, "Oh, Tigers and Skubal are $250 million off." No, we're 5 years off. Like, we don't seem to have much of an interest of paying him till he's 40, which I think you can argue is fair, especially because the core of our team outside of him is a very young team and still guys who are gonna come up to be in that core. So I think that's actually a pretty understandable thing, because from my understanding, our offer was something of like I think it started at 5 years for 200, which would be
Mhm.
40 million a year. Like, good annual value. Um, I don't I don't think that's us really lowballing him on the money part. I think probably on the years, I guess. So I think if they are able to find a middle ground in that, I think we definitely try to get that deal done. But at the end of the day, it's extremely unlikely that if he goes to free agency and we don't get a deal done before during the season, that we will like lose the bidding war to Mets, Yankees, Dodgers types. But with us, so I know we're going to talk more about it later, but with us signing Valdez, and yeah, there's opt outs and everything. Like there is a backup plan because Framber Valdez is a really good backup plan. He can be an ace. I think he's best when he's the number two, but he's a frontline guy. And my biggest thing too, I think that at the end of the day, it's going to come down to I think we will have a good offer for Skubal that we will give him, and he's going to have to make the choice if he wants. Is it more important to him to be a Tiger for the next however many years, or does he want to test the market and get the biggest deal possible? So at the end of the day, he will make like it's up to him to make that choice, and we just have to live with whatever he chooses.
For sure, for sure. But I mean, as you were saying, like a backup plans go, I think Framber Valdez is a really good backup plan. Right before the arbitration case went out, Tigers made a big splash, signing him to a 3-year, $115 million contract. He does have an opt out after the 2027 year, which I think is interesting. Kind of puts us into that win now perspective. Like we got to get it done this year, pretty much, especially with Skubal on the mend. So, talk to me a little bit about your reaction to this signing. You were an Astros guy, especially with Justin Verlander going over there. So, you've always followed them. You followed his first 8 seasons of his career with the Astros. So, talk to me a little bit about your thoughts on us signing Valdez.
Yeah. So when Verlander went over there, I was really lucky to, uh, and I'll preface, I was always Tigers first, obviously, but once
Hmm.
Verlander went over there and we sucked, they were my number two team, similar to how I always treated the Rams with Stafford.
You got to
Um,
follow your favorite athletes. It's
yeah,
fair.
100% you do. Um, and that being said, I stuck with them through the uh s- the sign stealing stuff too. So, but so you guys can always bang on me for whatever. Man, when he came up, and there was a lot of turnover during, those years, and if you look at his early career, so when Hinch was still the manager there, I believe it was, like, maybe it was 2018 and 19, I think were the first couple years of, Framber's, career. He wasn't pitching
Hmm.
much, but he got some it's like, spot starts here or there, came out of the pen a little bit. He really formed into, a frontline guy after, the Astros got Baker. And another
Hmm.
important thing to realize too is that pitching staff was riddled with injuries in 2020 and 2021. Or, excuse me. Verlander had Tommy John, so he was out for basically the entire shortened season of 2020 and all of 2021. In those years, um, Framber was a frontline guy and led them to 2020 almost making the World Series, and then in 2021 making the World Series and losing to Atlanta. And and then also Lance McCullers was also one of their frontline guys who was, like, always injured too. And if you look into 2022, Framber was not like that year, Verlander came back and he was their ace and he won the Cy Young. But, uh, when it came to the playoffs, Verlander had a good, not great, um, uh, postseason in 2022, and Framber was really their probably their best pitcher throughout that whole postseason. And he's had some
Yeah,
postseason struggles here and there too.
I
But
wrote down he had a 1.44 ERA in that postseason,
yeah,
which is just ridiculous, you
right.
know?
And he's had I think the following year he struggled in the postseason if I remember correctly. But like and
Mhm.
these guys aren't perfect. So and he has shown nothing but consistently staying on the field and giving a consistent, very good year. He's typically around like I believe his career ERA is about 3.36. I mean, if he comes in and posts that, even if he posts what he did last year, because if you look at that, man, the other thing is too, he's averaging a little bit over 6 innings a start. So, um, and he's got a couple complete games in there too. So, like, we're consistently getting out of him si 6 to 7 innings, which is really that's what you need, um, from guys like this. And now we have a second one because that was where I feel like we faltered a lot last year. Flaherty was really only giving us 5. Mize was really only giving us 5. Olsen was going deep into games and he got hurt, and he might not even be ready for opening day still. Now we have 2
Yeah.
set set guys that are gonna be able to go deep into games with Skubal and Framber. That's gonna help the bullpen a lot. That's gonna help Hinch a lot too in making decisions. So I think this signing is it's A, it shows that we're willing to pay to win, and B, the logistics of it make our rotation one of the fiercest in the league, if not the fiercest.
Yeah, I mean, you got 2, like, stud
Yeah.
pitchers. I mean,
Yes.
like, to add on to what you were saying about him throwing a lot of innings, only 4 pitchers have thrown more innings than him in the past 6 seasons,
Yeah.
which is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
that's just a crazy stat right there. He's always gonna be pitching, deep into games. He's always making runs there, and in that 2022 season, he had, 2.82 ERA, 194 strikeouts, and then he threw over 200 innings. Like, that's
Mhm.
crazy,
Yeah.
like, that's all stuff that you want from a type of guy that right now, we're just putting him as the 2nd pitcher. Like, this
Yep.
isn't our ace right now,
Yeah.
We still have Skubal. We still have guys like Casey Mize. We still have an unbelievable rotation. So, another thing that we talked about a lot is we're gonna have to rely on our pitching, and the Tigers have brought in some really great help with, the bullpen and all that stuff, like with Kenley Jensen, Kyle Finnegan, and they've really like bolstered that up. So now we got a very solid starting crew in Skubal, Valdez, Jack Flaherty, Casey Mize, and then Reese Olson if he comes back healthy, right? So what are your expectations for just the Tigers pitching staff as a whole? Do you think it should be just the best in the MLB? Is that like the bottom floor of what it should be, or is there like some room for it to grow?
Um, I think it'll be a top 3. I
Okay.
best can be tough because Yankees, especially once Cole comes back, they have a pretty fierce one too. And especially if you get, like, the Garrett Cole that we're, accustomed to seeing. Dodgers have a
Yeah.
solid rotation. I truthfully think that we have a better rotation than the Dodgers do. Not by no means do we have a better team, but, like, I just, uh, that rotation and, um, honestly, it's hard to see where anyone else has anything really that close. I mean, it helps when you have the best pitcher in baseball, and then, yeah, adding Framber to that mix too. I think even if Olson doesn't come back healthy and that's, say, Troy Melton or another spot, or that Drew Anderson that we picked up from the KBO,
Yeah.
that's okay too. But I think with Olson, I think, in my opinion, which is obviously a little bit biased, I think it is the best going into the season, the best rotation in baseball.
Yeah. Dude, I'm really excited.
Yeah, dude.
The the fact that we were able to bring in these guys is just like, man, the Tigers are going all in. The Pistons are here,
I know.
like Detroit sports are here, man.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
fun
They
stuff.
Yeah, it really is. And the thing I'll say too, like with this, it's like my ideal, I think was like I thought maybe Tigers should go and sign like like bringing back Verlander as the number 5 and like an Adolis Garcia.
Mhm.
And honestly, even though we didn't really address much of the offense, as a lot of people would have wanted us to do, I mean, this is we've chosen our identity for the season to be in our pitching. And if you look year after year after year, good pitching with timely hitting is what's going to win you games. It's what's going to win you series.
100%. 100%. Well, I'm excited. Tigers baseball is going to be fun, and we're getting there. It's February. I
Yeah.
mean, we are getting towards spring training.
Yep.
So, Marty, will try to be covering it as much as possible. I appreciate you coming on the show, man.
Yeah, of course.
All right, that is going to wrap up the show for today. Thank you guys so much for listening, watching, wherever you're at. Make sure you go like, subscribe on YouTube, and follow the show on Spotify. Make sure to give us those 5 stars. It really helps out the Spotify show, and I really appreciate it. That's going to wrap it up. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.